Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 22, Deuce Deuce. On Your Take, My Take by John and Jacob. I'm John.
I'm Jacob.
And tonight we want to talk about the wide receiver position for the fantasy football draft. We're going to be talking about our top 10 receivers and some sleepers and some also potential busts. We're also going to be doing the same format. It's a PPR. That's the points per reception. That makes a big deal for receivers because there's some receivers who get, one catch they get 10 catches for 54 yards, but they still get a lot of fantasy points because those points make a difference. So we want to start off with a coin flip. We'll let Jacob call it in the air again.
Tails.
Oh. He lost again. All right, so Jacob lost again. We're going to do the same format. We're going to talk about our number 1 through 10. And then we'll talk about our others 1s and 10s. I think they're going to be kind of similar in the beginning, but this wide receiver group is hard to pick because there's so many good receivers, and the depth of receivers is very deep. That's why running backs are so important and vital, because there isn't as many.
Yeah, it's not as deep.
So go ahead, Jacob.
All right, for number 1, it's pretty obvious. It was Devontae. I put Devontae Adams. He was the best receiver last year. He had the MVP QB, and he's the only good receiver on that team. The whole offense goes through him. He had a ton of catches and a lot of touchdowns last year, and their offense didn't change, so I expect him to do the same this year.
I have Devontae Adams also for the Packers. It's just like what Jacob said. He's another receiver where they do like 3-yard outs and he catches it and they put him in open space. So he gets tons of receptions and he gets tons and tons and tons of touchdowns. If you watch the Packers and they're close to the 3 or 4 yard line, they're going to pass it to Devontae Adams. Even when he's double covered, they go to him. So he's a clear cut number 1 in my opinion. So we agree on that.
Yes.
Okay, number 2, I have our boy DeAndre Hopkins. I have him number 2.
Wow.
And the reason why I do is because he demands the ball. He's an alpha dog, and I like the fact that he demands the ball. And I think the Cardinals realize we need to get him the ball. We don't have any other really established receivers. A.J. Green in 2016 would have been great.
He would have been amazing, yeah.
But this is 2021, and A.J. Green hasn't done much in a long time. But Hopkins does demand the ball, and I think in the last 5 years, he's probably in the top 3 of all time.
Yes.
And so I like Hopkins a lot. I think we're going to throw the ball a lot. And I think this is a year that Kingsbury and Murray have a lot to prove. And so why not throw the ball to the best? I think he's got the best hands in the NFL. And so why not throw to him? Who do you have?
So for number 2, I sadly don't have DeAndre Hopkins. This is just because I think that they're not necessarily better than him, but they're in a better position. So I put Tyreek Hill. He scores
better position.
Like
a better system?
Yeah, better system.
Okay.
And maybe they've got a better quarterback.
Yes. Slightly.
Just slightly. It's really close. But Tyreek Hill, he's their second best ball catcher. He's the number 2 receiver on that team, but he gets the deep ball a lot. He's the fastest player in the league, and he gets a lot of touchdowns too.
All right, so we differ on that one. Yes. I'm surprised you didn't put your favorite player at number 2.
Yeah. Again, number 3, it's not because of the receiver. It's because of the QB. I put Stephon Diggs. Last year, he really showed out. He proved that he's the number 1. He can be a number 1 receiver, and he's just really good. He creates a lot of separation. He gets a lot of slant passes to him. He scores a lot of touchdowns, and Josh Allen's a really good QB and has really good accuracy, and he's the number 1 receiver on that team and the number 1 offensive weapon on that team.
I don't know if Josh Allen has a really good accuracy. What he does have, he has a strong arm, and Stephon Diggs usually beats his guy by 5 or 6 yards. So he has more margin of error when Stephon Diggs. I don't have Diggs as a number 3. I have Tyreek Hill as my number 3. But Diggs, I like Diggs, but I like Tyreek Hill, and a lot of it is because of Patrick Mahomes. The only concern why I didn't have him number 2, and a lot of people have him number 2, is that they have so many weapons.
Yeah.
Is he going to be the only guy they go to all the time? I don't think they will. I think they throw out Patrick Mahomes. If you see him, he never focuses on one receiver. He's a very good. That's what makes him special, is that he can see where everyone's at, and so that's why I have Tyreek number 3. I just don't think he'll get the volume of looks and catches that but the first 2 will get, and so that's my number. The reason why I have Hill at 3. Yep. Number 4, I had number 4 Calvin Ridley for the Falcons, and this is because Julio Jones is no longer there, and Ridley's probably better than him anyways. Ridley stays healthy, and I think he runs very crisp routes. Julio Jones is an athletic freak, and I love Julio Jones, I've always have. But Ridley is really become his own man in terms of becoming the wide receiver 1. I like him a lot, and Matt Ryan focuses on him, and so he lives and dies with Calvin Ridley, and that's what I think Ridley will be my number 4.
All right, for my number 4, I put DeAndre Hopkins. It was strictly off the QB play. Kyler Murray doesn't have great accuracy, but he's the best player on the team. He's got to get the ball. He's going to get a lot of targets. I don't know if he'll catch him, because last year Kyler Murray kind of struggled getting him the ball, mostly because there were 3 guys on DeAndre Hopkins. But
Kyler struggled with the outs, like 10-yard outs, 12-yard outs. Kyler Murray sailed those
but
passes.
Strictly on skill, it's pretty. I think he's number 2. It's Devontae Adams and then DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins is gonna go. He's gonna do really well this year. Second year on this new offense, and I think he'll prove himself this year too. But he already did last year. But yeah.
So far, Jacob and I only agreed on number 1.
Yeah, I thought this would be again. This is a really deep wide receiver class. There's a lot of good players.
I also think it goes in personal preference too.
Yeah.
Some of these are separated by very slim margins, and so it goes into personal preference of who you like. But go ahead, number 5.
Right. Number 5, I put Calvin Ridley. Matt Ryan throws him the ball a lot. The only problem with me is they're going to use Kyle Pitts a lot. He was the number 3 draft pick. I'm pretty sure he was number 3.
3 or 4, yeah.
3 or 4, I don't remember. But they're going to use him a lot, I think. But it's pretty obvious. Calvin Ridley has a lot of skill. He rarely gets hurt. He's a touchdown machine, and this is an offense that is a pass-heavy offense. Their defense is awful, so you know that the Falcons are going to be throwing the ball a lot. So that's good for Calvin Ridley.
I like Ridley. We talked about him, but he's not number 5. He was ahead number 4 for me. So number 5 for me is, this is going to be a surprising for Jacob. I think he's going to laugh, but it's Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. And I like him. I like him a lot. He's an LSU boy. He knows how to play the game of football. I don't know if he's a burner, but you know what? As a rookie, I think he had the most yards per catch. And Kirk Cousins, if Dalvin Cook stays healthy, Kirk Cousins can wing it out of the play action, and that's something that Justin Jefferson can get open if you give him a little bit of time. And so Justin Jefferson as a rookie, he's only going to improve. Well, Thean is there, which kind of can hurt him because Thean was hurt as off and on last year, but they can't double team either one of them. So they're going to have single coverage, and the better of the two at separation and speed and is Justin Jefferson. So and I think the Vikings are going to be down a lot of games.
Yep.
So they're going to throw the ball a lot. And so that's why I think Justin Jefferson's my number 5. So number 6, am I going or you're going?
For sure you're going.
Hey, number 6, I have Stephon Diggs, and Jacob had him all the way at number 3. I have him at number 6.
Wow.
And the reason why, I've never been a big fan of Stephon Diggs. I think he's a one-trick pony. I think he's a deep threat, like John Brown or all these other guys who are really fast. I think he's a one-trick pony. But the thing is, Josh Allen throws him the ball deep. I think the Bills' offense is better than they were last year, and so they're going to diversify their attack. And I think they're not going to let Josh Allen stay in the pocket that long. I think they're going to run the ball more, and I also think they're going to run the intermediate routes, which they need to, because you can't live and die by the long, deep ball all the time, and that's what Stephon Diggs does. So I think his touches will be limited. He'll still make big plays, and he's still an athletic freak. He's just not in terms of volume of catches that the other guys will get.
For number 6, I put A.J. Brown. Third-year player. He can only get better. He's a beast.
Why did you put him so high when Julio Jones is there?
Julio Jones, I've never really liked him. He's really athletic.
Wait, Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer.
Yes. But he's really athletic, but there's one thing that has plagued him these past few years, and that's injury. He only played like 3 games last year. And I think he's not going to play that much this year from injury, too. He's already been banged up. You know, these hamstring injuries, they always linger. But I just think A.J. Brown's going to get the ball a lot. And after him and Julio Jones, there's not that many receivers. So they're going to force feed him the ball. And he gets a lot of goal line looks, too, because they'll stack the box with for Derrick Henry. Because
remember, Derrick Henry's also going to carry the ball more than anybody else in the league.
Yeah, but that's true. But I like A.J. Brown. He played really well last year, and I think he's really young, and he can take a step up from last year.
I can see that.
Number 7, this might be a good one too. It's Keenan Allen. I'm gambling on the Chargers this year. I think they'll be good. Justin Herbert really impressed people last year, and I think this offense is just going to get better from last year. Keenan Allen played phenomenal last year. He actually...
it's because he stayed healthy.
Yeah, he stayed healthy. He is a true number 1 receiver when healthy. The problem is he's never really been healthy, but we've seen what he can do when he is healthy. So I put him there. He would have been maybe a little higher, but I'm just really worried by injuries, but he's a good player, and I have faith in the Chargers this year.
So I don't have Keenan at number 7. I actually do like Keenan Allen. I think he runs great routes. I think he's a technician in terms of route running. I think him and Hopkins are 2 of the best at route running. But I just don't trust his injuries. I do like him though.
Yeah.
For my number 7, I have my boy DK Metcalf for the Seattle Seahawks. Just in terms of freak nature. Athletically, he is that guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's probably the most athletically gifted in terms of size and speed since Calvin Johnson. He doesn't have quite the same hands. DK's only main thing is he's got to share catches with Tyler Lockett. And Tyler Lockett's also a very good receiver.
Yeah, for 7 games.
Yeah, but DK is an absolute beast. This is a personal preference pick. I like DK and his style, and I love the how athletic he is. He's not refined.
Yes.
But I do like him a lot, and so DK is number 7 based on just based on his talent.
Yeah.
And his overall size and speed. I mean, he's number 1 in terms of that, but in terms of being a polished receiver, he's still got some work to do. But I put him at 7. Mm-hmm. So by number 8. Is Jacob's number, what was it? A.J. Brown. I have A.J. Brown at 8. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I don't have him higher than 8 is because of Julio Jones and Derrick Henry. All those guys demand the ball a lot. There's only one football on an offensive series, and you can't get the ball to all 3 at one play. You just can't. I mean, that would be great if you run a trick play every time they saw a touch, but they don't. And so he's going to have to split carries. And another thing about A.J. Brown and why I put DK over him is they both have the case of the dropsies. They both don't have super great hands, and I've seen both times where the ball has gone through their hands and hit them in the face mask. And so that's not a good sign. You don't see Hopkins do that. You don't see Davante Adams do that. You're looking at, if you want to be elite in the top 5, you can't have those type of drops on crucial plays. And I think DK is just athletically better than AJ, but they're very similar. AJ Brown's like
they're both beasts.
AJ Brown is a shorter version of DK, but imagine they were teammates in college and they still sucked as a college football program. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
But regardless, I put AJ Brown as number 8.
Talking about Ole Miss and people that drop the ball a lot, I put DK Metcalf at number 8.
You love DK.
I love DK. He single-handedly helped my fantasy team last year. But I just think he's very talented, but he just worries me. He was red hot in the first half of the season, but then his play really depends on Russell Wilson, because if he keeps getting beat up, he can only be good for half the season, and the second half of the season matters the most because that's when the playoffs happen. You could actually win the championship. So I don't know if I want a guy that can only play very good for half of the season. But he's just a really good deep threat. But he worries me. He's not a great catcher. He's not. He doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins type's hands. But I still like him and put him at number 8.
But his overall athletic ability covers up a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
That's when you have a pure freak of an athlete, and it covers up a lot of mistakes. Like myself in all sports, as a pure athlete, I could be just mediocre
You're not DK
in a lot of
Metcalf
techniques. Has a lot of techniques, but as a pure athlete, it makes up for those lack of techniques. But all right, I would be number 1 on the list.
The thing is, though, for athletics, is that DK Metcalf is 6'4" and ran a very low 4.3. And you're like 5'9" and ran a 5.
Did not run a 5. That's a lie. I would run a 5 right now, maybe, but not when I was DK's age. All right.
Okay, for number 9, I like this guy too. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry. I think they got a good quarterback this year, Ryan Fitzmagic.
Oh, come on. He's not good.
But he's better than all of those people. Terry McLaurin has never had a solid quarterback. He had Dwayne Haskins and then a bunch of other guys no one cares about and aren't even in the league anymore or are hurt. But he's been productive and good with bad quarterbacks, and this year they actually have more weapons. So I think that basically he'll have more chances to get the ball more. And
we also know he's from Ohio State.
That's why he's at 9.
Okay.
Ohio State really dropped him because he's probably a little bit crazy too.
Yes. Well, I do not have him, and I actually looked at my list and I got to cross it off because I had someone else, so I forgot about this. I'm gonna put Michael Thomas at number 9 for the Saints.
Wow.
And if he's healthy and his head is right, and no Ohio State Buckeye, but if his head is right and he's healthy, he's gonna be top 5. He has that much talent. He runs great routes. He's got great hands. And if Jameis Winston is really going to be their passer,
He could be good.
Michael Thomas is going to have a big year.
He's going to have a huge year.
And so you can't... Michael Thomas, 2 years ago, was talked about as a top 3 pick in the draft. Regardless of receiver, running back, or not, he was considered a top 3 or top 4 pick. And so if you have that much production, it doesn't stop because you're all of a sudden too old. It's not that. It's because he's mentally not there.
Yes.
And he had some injuries. I hope that he recovers from that because he is an elite receiver. That slipped because of those issues. That's why I have it at number 9. So number 10, I have Keenan Allen. Jacob had Keenan Allen number 7. I talked about him briefly. I really like Keenan Allen. I think he understands to be a receiver. He understands in run routes, get open. I like him a lot. The problem is, whenever I draft him on a fantasy team, he always gets hurt. And last year I didn't draft him, and he played the whole season.
I drafted him and traded him.
So you tell me what I'm supposed to do with that. But at number 10, I put him there because he is a good receiver. And if you're desperate for a wide receiver 1 and you picked up running backs heavy early and you need a wide receiver 1, he's a very good wide receiver 1 option. Is he a true elite receiver? No. But is he a potential QB wide receiver 1 if you have good running backs? Yes.
For number 10, I put Justin Jefferson.
That's too low.
Well,
way too low.
The thing is, though, is that he is dealing with an injury right now that he's got another. I think it's a ligament injury. Those things always scare me because they never really go away. They just you can take pain medicine and it'll be a little bit better. But you always got to worry about that. And they also have Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
no one knows.
Yeah. But he's going to be good this year. Second year player. I think he'll take a big step forward this year. I just think that their offense is crowded, more crowded than other teams.
But he's their best
Yeah.
receiver, don't you think?
Yeah, I think he's their best receiver.
And when they stack the box to stop Cook, he's going to be their first option.
And you got to mind that first few games he actually didn't play that much because he was a rookie. But then when they played him, he played really well. So they kept playing him, and he ended up playing really well. And
I can't wait to see what a full season of him in there.
That's a good point.
Who's your sleeper picks? Give us
All
some
right.
sleeper picks.
You stole this from me, but it's gonna be Michael Thomas. He's going really late in the drafts, and I would pick him up. I picked him up in every team I had because he's got great upside and value. Because if he plays with a Jameis Winston who loves to air the ball out, then he could be a top 3 receiver because that's just how skilled he is. I remember a few years ago he was debated as going like number 1. And I truly believe
how many catches did he have? He set the record in catches.
He's the slant master.
He really is.
He'll give you 15 catches and 40 yards. That's how good he is. That's amazing.
He'll give you 15 catches, and he has done that often.
He does that often.
Yeah.
And for how late he's going, he is a great value pick. And another guy that happened to be the starting quarterback today is Bridgewater. Bridgewater. I liked Teddy Bridgewater.
So you have Jerry Jeudy.
Oh yeah, Jerry Jeudy. I'm sorry, but Jerry Jeudy. He's a really good receiver. He's a really refined.
You like all Alabama players, though. You notice that?
Yeah.
You seem to.
They do produce. No.
Okay.
I don't have any Alabama receivers in here.
You have
besides
Jerry Jeudy.
Besides Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
If anything, I like Ohio State receivers.
Well, they are pretty good.
But Jerry Jeudy, this is his second year. He's got a way better quarterback. Drew Lock is awful.
They're both bad.
But Teddy Bridgewater, he likes to throw the ball, and I think he's gonna
get knocked out again.
Yeah, but he did produce he played for the Panthers last year, and all 3 of those receivers played decent. And
it's true. Robbie Anderson had a pretty good year.
The Broncos don't have that many. They don't have that much of talent. So I think that all of the receivers could be better than last year, and Jerry Jeudy could take a really big step.
So I have my sleepers Cooper Kupp because I think Cooper Kupp is going to have a lot of good looks because Matthew Stafford likes to dink those passes.
Yeah.
And Stafford's a huge upgrade from Jared Goff. Huge. So I think Cooper. The only problem with Cooper Kupp is that he's also splitting catches with Robert Woods.
Yeah.
And both of them are good. They're both borderline wide receiver. One's really good wide receiver 2s.
Yeah.
But Cooper Kupp, out of both of them, I think could benefit from Matthew Stafford. The other sleeper pick that I have is T. Higgins from the Bengals.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
If Joe Burrow stays healthy and T. Higgins, he's the number 1. He's 6'4", athletic. He had a pretty good year last year. And so I think he's only going to improve. Like I said, I like these tall athletic receivers that give it a much better catch radius. And Joe Burrow, he's going to wing it out. They're not a very good team. He's going to wing it out. And so I like T. Higgins. I don't think he's a receiver 1, but I think he'll be a solid 2. And so he would be a sleeper pick in mine. Mm-hmm. Who's your bust?
Right, we got some busts. I have 2. Mike Evans is the first one. Every year he's been slowly declining out of their play.
He did have a big playoff run.
Yeah, but again, he was on and off last year. He's been getting hurt a lot.
Yeah, he gets hurt a lot.
He gets hurt a lot. And truly, I believe that Chris Godwin and all the other receivers are better just because they don't get hurt a lot. And I just think that Mike Evans, he's being drafted pretty high. He has a lot of upside. But when you're drafting somebody that high, you want somebody with a better floor so that you don't have to worry about what if he gets hurt. And the second guy was Amari Cooper. Just because he's another guy, he gets hurt a lot. I think that Dallas is going to have a good offense this year. So I think that they're maybe going to spread the
3 good receivers.
It's hard. It's really hard to do good with 3 receivers for fantasy on the same team. I think that they got something in CeeDee Lamb. I think he'll have a pretty big year. And
I'm surprised you didn't put
Michael
your boy
Gallup.
Kenny Galladay in there.
Well, you can't put him in because he's not going to play the season.
He's got to play.
No, yeah, he's going to play one game. So
Here's the thing about Mike Evans, and it's about a lot of people. The Cowboys have 3 good receivers, so it's hard to figure out out of those 3 who's going to be. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have 3 receivers: Brown, Evans, and Godwin. I don't know who's going. They're going to have to split those touches. Same thing with who else has 3? I mean, there's a lot of teams that have 2 or 3 good receivers that really hurts you, and they're not separated by that much. And so you wonder, oh man, and one week, CeeDee Lamb's going to go off, and the next week Cooper's going to go off. That's the inconsistency of
and
of
you
those
don't want
teams.
inconsistency.
Yeah. So who are my biggest plus? Unlike Jacob, I actually picked top 10 people that were considered top 10.
Again, these guys are all borderline top 10.
Yes. Well, Mike
Evans.
Mike Evans is maybe top 20, but these guys are legitimately. Most people have these guys in the top 10. One, Allen Robinson for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, you don't like him?
The reason why I don't like him is because I don't like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, how can anybody like Andy
No
Dalton?
one likes Andy Dalton.
He made the Cowboys receiving corps look like they were the worst receivers in America, and all 3 of those guys,
his team.
yes, and all 3 of those guys are good, and they're just as good as Allen Robinson. So Allen Robinson is going to be force-fed the ball. I just don't think he's going to produce the numbers that everyone thinks he's going to be. A lot of people might as a wide receiver 1. I don't think he will be because of that.
I have something to say, though, is Allen Robinson, he does get force-fed the ball. He's a good catcher, and he has good upside because what if Justin Fields starts earlier than people expect?
But Fields is still a question mark, too.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them are question marks. The biggest slam on him is still Andy Dalton and the Chicago Bears. So my second one, you're going to be surprised, too, Jacob. DK Metcalf is potentially the biggest plus, too.
And I even said that.
It's because he's not refined.
I know.
And if somehow defenses have figured it out. I mean, there were times where defenses figured them out and they said, you know what, you can have the little 5-yard outs and try to hold on to the ball because I'm not going to let you burn me deep. And he struggled in those kind of situations. Mm-hmm. But I'm having hope that he's going to refine those skills because he has so much athletic ability
and
potential that he should be a solid wide receiver 1, a guy that you can count on week 1 and through week 16, getting you 20 points. That's what you need in a wide receiver 1, and I think he has a potential, but he also has very high potential, but also a big drop too.
Yeah.
And so I worry about that. I really like DK, but I think that's my concern. And Jacob mentioned it too. 2 other reasons. He's got Tyler Lockett taking some passes. And Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson's body breaks down, we're not going to be able. No one's going to throw him the ball.
I know.
And so those are some of my concerns. So as we talked about before, there's so much about the wide receiver position. There's so much depth. But that's why it's important that you need to get a good wide receiver 1. You need to get one.
And the third round the third round you can get one too.
Yes,
because it's so deep.
It's so deep.
Yeah,
and what you could do is stack up a bunch of 2s, wide receiver 2s, and hopefully and rotate them out based on matchup because running backs are so important that you can start streaming some of the wide receivers in too. Mm-hmm. And so wide receivers is a very important position because everyone needs it, especially PPR leagues. But there's so many of them that you have to really be careful, and you got to look at quarterbacks, you got to look at other teammates, and you got to look at schemes. And so I hope this helped. Like I said, wide receivers are a very important position. We love watching. I actually prefer watching wide receivers because I love when they make big plays.
Yep.
But it's a great time. Again, fantasy football is so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this helped. And like I said, this is episode 22 of Your Take, My Take by John and Jacob. I'm John.
I'm Jacob.
And see you guys later.